Welcome back to Marshie's Corner. We're back. It's been a long 7 months. But yeah, kicking it off, we're back with my guy Kai, Fullerton College's player development coach, and they just won a championship, and we're just gonna catch up, have a conversation, and yeah, talk a little bit of basketball, talk a bit about mindset, mentality, coaching, player development, whole bunch of stuff. I do just want to apologize. I'm out sick right now. I've been home the last 3 or so days, and yeah, taking some good Nurofen. A little bit drugged up right now. I had some brain fog for this conversation, but it was just cool to be back. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Hey, Brian.
Am I on?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Champ
Hold
Kai, how you going?
on. Hold on. My bad. What's up, man?
How you going?
Man, everything's great. I'm just honored to be here, man. Honored to join this space with you.
Are you kidding me? I have an actual champion on my podcast.
No, that's Jesse. You know Jesse.
He hasn't won anything for me yet.
That's funny.
So
I'm
what's going
ready,
on?
man.
What's going on with you? So it's the summer for you right now?
Yeah, it's a summer right now. We have 2 weeks off until the program starts up like officially again for summer workouts. But like today I was just training a lot. But yeah, man, just in the lab pretty much nonstop. It seems like it's been I got here about 8 hours ago, just finishing the day right now.
My cats decided to join the conversation. Um, um, so these summer workouts you're doing, is that with your Fullerton players or is that your own side
Yeah,
stuff?
it's with some of them. Some of these guys are still kind of sticking around, so we kind of get in the morning, and then I'll have some players kind of outside the program that'll come by as well, and it's just a kind of a cool little culture that we build within this Fullerton gym. Just a lot of good, talented players, hardworking players that come in and out. So it's fun to be around, even if it's 8 hours a day in the gym. It's a lot of fun for sure.
No, that's cool. So obviously, so you just won the California Community College state championship, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, nice. Is that the first one in Fullerton's history?
No, I'm not sure how many they are, but the most recent one was 2019.
Oh, right.
Um, so last year went to San Francisco, and then the year before that, or the season before that, before COVID, was it was San Francisco versus Fullerton, just like how it was this year, and Fullerton won that one. So um, it's been Fullerton, San Francisco, and then Fullerton again. So it's been just kind of a back and forth with that. So we'll see. Hopefully Fullerton can get another one next year.
Yeah, cool. Is that your second year coaching for Fullerton?
This was my second season, man. Yep, 21, 22 is my first official season with Fullerton.
Yeah, cool. How have you felt like you've grown within your role over the last 2 seasons?
I've grown a lot. I think I got to give a lot of credit to Coach Webster, my head coach. He allows me to kind of grow into my own, and he's not really micromanaging what I do, and just kind of finding my avenue through basketball. And player development was something that I knew I was going to probably latch on to, and that's kind of been more the avenue and the side that I've taken within myself, and I think that's been the role that's been able to help the program as well. We have 5 coaches on staff, so I think for me, it was about like finding what areas I felt like I could help the team, and I think with like individual skill development and player development, I think that was definitely the avenue that I found myself passionate about, and then also where I just felt like I could help the team most. So it's been a good combination of all that for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. And so obviously being a player yourself and you had dreams of being a player, you were talking
Mhm.
about like finding avenues.
Mhm.
I guess last time we spoke, you were kind of thinking about, do I go play in the Philippines? Do I stick with this
Mhm.
coaching job? Like, do you
Yeah.
feel like you've, I guess, found your avenue in basketball?
Yeah, for sure. I've gotten so, I mean, yeah, last time we talked, I hadn't even really started like I had started a little bit, but I hadn't really found that passion and that like, that love for it yet. But just 2 years later or almost 2 years later, just being, in it, the relationships I've made, the connections I've made, it's been a lot of fun. And I've just found myself invested in. I don't really look back on, you know, these what ifs as a player or anything like that. Really, at this point, I really truly enjoy what I do. So, I'm in a good place. So I really there's no second guessing for me at this point.
Yeah, that's great. That's cool. I guess I've seen that you still get to, scratch that playing itch, playing ones and
Yeah, that's at this point playing is just a cardio thing. So yeah, I that's the big one of the bigger blessings about being at Fullerton. I get to play against these Division 1, Division 2 caliber players sometimes in one-on-one. So they keep me in shape, or I'll run some 5-on-5 with them here and there too. So that's also a good part about the job.
no, that's cool. It's like, obviously finding your avenue. Um it was cool that we had this conversation. So I saw that you posted on Instagram the other day. Wait, I'm just going to read the quote.
Hmm.
You posted change your life by consciously choosing who you surround yourself with. The truth is you want to grow. You've got to, if you want to grow, you want to be around people who challenge you to raise your standards.
Yeah.
Um, and I read that, and I haven't been doing this podcast for. I had a look. It's been like 7 months since I released my last one,
Yeah.
and I put it aside for a little bit because I I felt like I didn't have any kind of. I didn't know where I was going. I guess in terms of in life, like I have this, you know, I think about you know, I was just talking to a friend the other day, like, myself as a child, as a kid, and then, becoming a teenager,
Hmm.
um, sitting there recording basketball games, recording games of rugby league,
Hmm.
and, watching them back, pausing, rewinding, watching sets, watching all these things. And I was like, for my entire life, the idea of breaking down sports, coaching. I started coaching when I was in grade 8, 9 myself, started coaching the kids that were younger than me at the school.
Hmm.
It's always been part of my life. We talked about Jesse before, our friend Jesse Gee. I started doing a teaching degree, and he, in kind of Jesse fashion, he was like, bro, why the fuck are you doing that? He's like, that's like not what you're meant to do, which kind of sat with me a little bit. And um, I wasn't sure if I agreed with him or not. But then, um, I enrolled in uni and I started this teaching degree. And then out of nowhere, I kind of thought I was set for the next 4 years. Like I had a job in special ed, so like just helping out at schools, and then um, and then studying on the side. And I was like, I guess that's what I do for the next 4 years. Then I'm going to become a teacher.
Hmm.
Um, and there was there was like a little part of me that was like, is this my reality? Like I went to church. I ran into a friend who I hadn't seen in a while, and he was talking about like, oh, like that's so good that you're doing this teaching degree. It's such a stable career. And he's like saying all these things, and he's saying it like it's a good thing, but everything he was saying was like almost crushing my soul. I was just
Hmm.
like, I don't think this is the way I'm meant to feel. Anyway, um, the school I was working at, someone took over the finances and found out that we were like super in the red zone. Like four people lost their jobs. I was being told that I was getting cut down to 1 day of work, and I was like, what am I meant to do here? Anyways,
Hmm.
it kind of, I guess, put like a little bomb under me to go,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, what am I going to go find?" And so before, you just talked about spending all this time in the lab. There was this 24/7 basketball facility that just opened up in Brisbane, and we don't have anything really like that. And
Hmm.
it's called the Lab Basketball Center or something like, yeah, the lab, but the basketball lab. And
Hmm.
yeah, they were offering a job, and I applied, and I ended up getting it. So I've just started working there in the last 2 weeks.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, no, just like back in a basketball setting, and just going. after my first proper session. So there's like a bit of admin work. The being a 24/7 facility, like sometimes you're kind of just there, just showing people around, helping people out where you need be. But on weekends, especially, that's where we start our coaching and player development.
Hmm.
And I remember that first session. It sounds a little bit corny, but within like 10 minutes of the session, I had like, if I was on my own, I probably could have cried some happy tears because I was like, fuck, this is like my favorite thing to do in the world. Why am I not doing this? So yeah, so that's been pretty exciting. Just I guess getting back into basketball, and it's obviously reignited this part of my life, like the podcasting
Mhm.
side of things, and um, yeah, I guess I'm just chasing passion. But something that I've realized in myself, so working at the basketball lab, there's going to be opportunities for me to train. We have professional players in Australia coming into our lab and
Yeah.
getting workouts in, and so in terms of where I can take this, that I don't really see like a cap on it, and just being in a workspace where it's like how much I work, how much like work I put in, it
Hmm.
could really like determine where I go, I guess, with my career. And there's a legitimate opportunity to make basketball my career, which I knew that was never going to be an option for me as a player, but as a coach, I've always felt like I had something to give. Um,
Hmm.
and it made me think of you because, I feel really comfortable coaching, beginners, intermediates, certain different age groups. But when you start getting to those, late high school kids, and then I guess when you're talking about like that college kind of age group,
Hmm.
I'm not, that's where I start to feel a bit uncomfortable, I guess, which is, I want to become proficient in those areas. So when I saw you
Yeah.
post that quote about, who are you putting yourself around, I was kind of like, man, why am I not talking to Kai about, how do you start training people of that caliber,
Yeah.
of that age group and whatnot. So, um, yeah, no, I was just like, oh, I guess I could just hit him up. We'll have a podcast, but,
You talk about it.
um, yeah. So like for you, I guess as a coach, as a development coach, like, have you built any like principles or, any, uh, yeah, I guess that's the word, like principles around your coaching philosophy, around how you go about developing these players?
Yeah, I think it was a different situation for me coming into it because when I got hired by Fullerton, I was 23 years old. I just turned 26. Some of our older players are 23. So, I'm old enough to be their friend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're closer in age. So I think it just kind of came from like starting off in that environment. It was about like understanding that I could be someone that could relate to them, but at the same time, someone that they still had to like respect at the same time. So, for me, like when I look back on it, like, people like can tell like these guys, they have a good relationship with me, but at the same time, like I've set that boundary where like I'm not like their friend 24/7. And when it's time to get in between the lines, it's time to work. When it's time to get in the weight room, it's time to work. But off the court, we can be cool. Maybe we won't hang out, but like, you can approach me with stuff that maybe is more relatable to what you got going on. Um, so I think it was always about just finding that balance, because I knew it was going to be tough. Like, going into it, I know I look young. I'm young. I was younger in age when I started. So I didn't know how it was going to go, but it was just, I think about just building trust with players individually and maybe not them as a group, and just kind of talking to them and, just showing them that like I was going to be someone that was, on their side in a sense, but in the same time, going to be someone that, wanted to help them get better. And I think as long as somebody knows that you're trying to help them get better, they're going to be all in on it. And if you're not there to just be their friend. So I think just establishing that communication, that dialogue was huge for me, getting going. So I think it's worked out pretty well.
No, I like that. I like the fact that you were considering like obviously your age and stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
me myself, I figured out at a pretty young age that, I'm not going to make this professionally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I always had a little bit of, whenever I put myself in a space to be a coach, I had that feeling of, imposter syndrome a little bit.
Mhm.
Like I'm too young for this. Like at some point, one day, like I'll be able to do this. But I guess for you, you obviously have confidence in what you're able to teach someone. Did you feel any of that kind of imposter syndrome?
A little bit. I think working with the college guys, it was one thing because I had been through the program, so I knew what was expected of them daily, just being through it and seeing it on a daily basis. So I was able to help them kind of from a on a daily, basis standpoint. Just expecting them, helping them prepare for what was to come in practice and games and stuff like that. I think last summer was, maybe I felt that a little bit. That was when I trained my first overseas player, and he's actually older than me. He's about 3 years older. He might have just turned 29. So that was like, the first time he had just played his, I want to say his third year professionally. So he had came to me, and I wasn't too sure what to expect, but you know, we ended up, working out for the whole summer. We were talking today. He's going to be back for the summer this year. He'll be staying in LA. So I think that was the first time because I knew I hadn't worked with, an overseas pro yet, and I wasn't an overseas player myself. So, but it just gave me the confidence. The only thing that really gave me that confidence was that he had a lot of trust in me, and I knew that I had a lot of confidence in myself because how I prepare, for workouts and things like that. So at first it was a little like nerve wracking, but I think as time went on and I put the time in on studying film and things like that, it didn't become an issue. And now I've had multiple overseas guys come through and other good high level college players. So it's been good as far as that goes.
That's cool. So you talk about obviously you gain confidence from your preparation. What does your preparation look like when if you're getting an individual, do they say how long they're going to be with you? Or is it just like
Yeah.
how many workouts? What does your preparation look like, I guess?
Yeah, it all depends on the player's situation. Like, when he comes back, last year he was kind of with me 3, 4, and sometimes 5 times a week for about 2 or 3 months. So we had a lot. We didn't have to really rush anything, and it's cool when I get to work with an overseas player or a college player, because I'm able to access their film through Synergy. So I'm able to see tendencies and strengths and weaknesses, which makes my life a lot easier. So I can really dive deep into their film and just kind of see things and then build that dialogue, that communication. And it's a collaborative effort. It's not just about me, like, saying this is how I want things. I like to sit down with a player and watch film and do all those things. And I'll try to do that with some of the high school kids that I have, or any middle school kids I have too. And when they're sending me their stuff, but it's easier when I have like the access on my app. Um, but yeah, that's the approach. And I think when they see that, like when they're saying, okay, like this guy's watching his film, this guy's kind of on it, researching, it kind of gives themselves like that sense of trust in me because we're not just going out there and working on whatever we want for the day. It's just, everything has purpose behind it. So, that's probably the biggest preparation that goes into it. And then, for an overseas player, we're a lot of times like they're really good already. Like there's a reason they're overseas. There's a reason they're professional. So a lot of times we're working on a lot of the shots that they may be seeing, that come in season. College guys, kind of the same thing. I think there's a little bit more skill development sometimes with those guys. And then as you go down, there's definitely more opportunities for more skill development. So and then it just for me, I like to assess, different things, footwork and how sound they are fundamentally. And then just go from there. And then you kind of just with experience, seeing other players, watching so much film, you just kind of get this idea of how things go. I'm not saying I'm perfect or anything like that, but you just kind of get a feel for how players respond well and how they learn um, and it's been good, and I'm still learning every single day. So that's just the best part about it.
Yeah, I like that. I would guess for you when you get that player, do you have an approach of okay, so this is your summer, this is your off season. these are your strengths. Obviously, you can't really go, I'm going to work on all these weaknesses with you. Do you highlight one, two, maybe three? Like what's your approach with that sort of thing?
Yeah, so I mean, like, so if I have like an overseas player, or a college player, or even our college guys, if they're a really good shooter, they're gonna keep shooting the ball the whole summer, because that's what got them here, and that's why they got recruited, or that's why they signed this deal. So definitely sharpening up on those things, while definitely making some points of emphasis on maybe those weaker areas. Now, something that's more practical, like maybe a pump fake and shooting off the dribble versus like a left hand floater or something like that. Something that's a little bit more practical. Something that can be applied to their strength. So if someone can really shoot the ball, but then they add a shot, but they don't have a good shot fake, or a shot fake and a one dribble pull up, or a shot fake and one dribble relocate to the three. Um, then that's something you can develop, because that ties into their biggest strength, which is shooting threes, versus, saying, oh, you're a good shooter. Let's work on your, left hand floater, or something like, or your
Yeah.
post up game. That's something that's not really tied in, if that makes sense. So I kind of like to just work with that, work in those areas, just that anything that complements their strength, and then anything that, they might be able to work on their own, is an added bonus for sure. So that's just kind of how I see it. Everyone's different, and some people have, different things they come to me that they really want to work on. And as long as it seems practical, then we can attack it for sure.
Yeah, nice. And I guess for you and your coaching development, like as in for yourself,
Mhm.
do you go, all right, these are the things that I do well. What's maybe something that I need to work on this summer for myself as well? Not in
Mhm.
your game, but like as a coach. Like
Mhm.
are you kind of like self-assessing and trying to find ways to be better?
Yeah, for sure. I think a big thing is just, I think working with different players allows me to just learn from myself at the same time. I've started working with a lot more players this past spring, and currently, and I like to learn from other player development coaches and trainers. And anytime I get the opportunity to see something on YouTube, or see something in person, like I'm all for it. Like I like to pick and choose, and okay, like he got this person to respond this way, or he drilled this way for this person to learn this way. So it's never just my way or the highway. And I like to learn from other people, and I like to just study. I just like to study the game, and I watch the game a lot, and I'll watch the simplest of plays, but I'll watch it 5 to 10 times over and over, just seeing the footwork and the rhythm and the timing of all these different things and the options that they might have had. And I'll watch some of the most random basketball sometimes, like overseas, or a random low major Division I college game, and I'm just watching just different things. So I think that's where it ties into for sure. And again, just learning from other people. I follow a lot of uh, player development coaches on Twitter, on Instagram, and I'm just kind of filtering out what I like, what I think I could, use for myself. And that's just what I think that's the cool part about the community. I think people put stuff out there to learn, and I think it's just a cool little cycle that we got going on.
When's the Kai channel coming?
It might come soon. It might be this summer, man. I might start putting some stuff together. I got some posts on the way. Um, I'm gonna send you something after this that you might like. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I can get around to it. If I can keep it consistent, then I'll do it. But I don't want to start something, and then I can't keep it consistent.
Yeah. I mean, the off season, I guess, is the perfect time for that, right?
For sure. I might experiment a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. So you got some fresh ink. You got a new tattoo.
I haven't finished yet.
You haven't
I
finished
gotta
yet? Oh, you got to go underneath.
I gotta do the inside now next. Yeah.
Did you always want that?
Uh, to be honest, I went in thinking I was just gonna go to the elbow,
Oh,
and then
really?
I was just persuaded and do something different.
As in,
So,
sorry, down from the shoulder to the elbow or
yeah, I
the,
was already kind of at the shoulder, and then
yeah,
so I
right.
was thinking I was just gonna go to the elbow, but then you know life happens sometimes, and I just changed it up and ended up being there for 6.5 hours.
Is there any Obviously, like it's your heritage. Is there any meaning
Yeah.
behind it? And
Yeah, there's definitely meaning behind it. My tattoo artist, he kind of interviewed me before. And so everything on my arm has like all the way up has some type of meaning towards me and my upbringing, my faith and my family. So I thought it tells a story in its own way. So it's definitely not just it was free-handed, but at the same time, it has a meaning behind it. It's not just copy and paste from somebody else. So that's what I really like about it.
no, I like that. I got a couple of little ones, and I got a forearm sleeve planned, but I've never committed to it. But
Jeez.
maybe one day.
Yeah,
I like to appreciate other people's.
yeah. I'm definitely happy with mine. There's no regrets with it. So I know the next session when I finish it up should be good.
Yeah, nice, nice. So 2 more weeks, and then you're back into the whole cycle of things.
Yeah, 2 more weeks, and then the guys will start coming back, and then yeah, pretty much back to kind of practicing a little bit more, and then yeah, weightlifting, conditioning, stuff like that. So we'll go for about maybe a little less, about 2 months. I think it should be about 2 months exactly. So should be
Yeah,
good, and then 2 weeks off.
yeah, nice, nice. So I guess this has been good. I've enjoyed this. I'm just enjoying being like in this space again where like I don't know, it felt like my life had just come to this big standstill,
Yeah.
and I'm just like doing this thing that I just feel like is like I was just going through the motions. I had no passion behind it, but no, it's cool talking. And have you been watching the NBA finals?
To be honest with you, I haven't. I mean, shoot, are the Lakers winning right now? I don't even know, but
I'm behind in the
I've been seeing
game.
the highlights.
Yeah, the
I've been
game's
seeing
on
the
in the
highlights.
background. I got
Yeah,
the Lakers are up by 10. Um,
I've just been in the gym, honestly, for the most part. I've just been in the gym, so we kind of played on the laptop or something, but that's about it. I haven't really sat down and watched, but I've been seeing the highlights, and obviously, the way that the conference finals are going right now is surprising everybody, I think. So,
a little bit, unless you're a Jimmy enthusiast like me, I'm not surprised at all.
oh yeah, I'm a
Uh,
Jimmy fan.
yeah, yeah, me too. Actually, that's actually a topic that I should have made notes. I never make notes. I'm like, oh, I have all these topics in my head. Talking about Jimmy and the Heat, and they talk about like the Heat culture stuff.
Yeah.
You're in the space of player development, and
Mhm.
at least in my experience over here in Australia, and I can't speak for what it's like over there. Um, I feel like I'm about to sound like one of those old heads right now, but
Yeah.
to me, while everyone like when we're talking footwork, ability, skill, like there's no question that what the kids can do these days is
Mhm.
far. It's just like keeps on leveling up, and
Right.
even me for myself when I look around, like it's not jealousy, but there is like a level of like, man, like we just didn't even look at the game this way, like especially with like all these side steps
Mhm.
and just all this footwork stuff. That's just not how we looked at the game. But
Right.
I was just talking to my housemate. We play in a league on a Monday night, and we got some younger guys in that team, and he's like, man, some of these young guys they don't even know how to make an entry pass. Like he's like, I got 20 points, all coming in the paint. I'm posting up, and they're dribbling into me, and whatever else. And I played with a young. I don't play with this guy regularly, but I was playing in a game with a young guy, probably about or maybe 16 years old, and um, he just came. He's a fairly talented guy, big, long, 6'6", has some guard skills, but he's probably 0 for 2 in the game. I just watched him airball a free throw, and we come down, and so I've brought the ball down. I've chucked it to the middle. He's up at the top of the 3-point line. I've come down to the 45. I've given it to him. Our best shooter is the next pass along, and as I've given it to him, just naturally in my head, I'm like, he's just going to throw that next pass. Our shooter's wide open right now.
Mhm.
Um, and he takes the shot, and I say to him like, "Man, one more pass," and he's like, "Why? I'm open." And I just, which is like I respect it to an extent, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I feel like there's like a level of as the skill levels going up, there's been less of a emphasis on like how the game is played.
Yeah, the team game, individual
Yeah,
skills have gone up. I think team teaching has maybe gone down a little bit for sure.
it is for sure. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, like I said, like the way skills going, I think. I mean, you don't know what you're gonna see. I feel like I see a fourth grader doing some insane stuff every day on Instagram or something. But then, I mean, some of that stuff that never matters because they can't play 5-on-5 basketball or anything like that when it matters in a high school or a college setting. And I think you see sometimes guys drop off when they get to those levels because they don't know. They just no one really taught them how to do it, and it's not really the player's fault. It could be just who was coaching them as they grew older. I was fortunate enough to kind of be coached in that sense, and now I'm at a program where I'm continuing to learn, the team game and just combining. So being able to combine really good and talented, skilled players with really good coaching and culture, you see a lot of success.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I mean, even me for myself, like I've said already, but like I was never gonna make it professionally. But you know, me being 5'11" on a good day, shorter wingspan than my height, um, I could shoot the ball a little bit, and I've gotten to share the court with some guys that I've seen now play for Australia, play professionally, and I was never as good as them, but I was good enough to be on the same court as them at times.
Right.
And for me, like when I now in a position where if I am playing, I'm playing with some of these younger guys, and I'm just trying to teach them, I guess, the things that I've learned. But they
Mhm.
have no there's like a lack of feel for the game, like
Right.
understanding momentum, understanding runs, understanding how to build pressure in a game and then respond to a run and all these sorts of things. And it's I'm in a space now where I'm not coaching any basketball teams, and I
Mhm.
want to get back into that space, but I'm strictly player development. But there's a
Right.
there's a part of me that's like they're missing this player development side is only one half of the full picture, but it
Mhm.
feels like I don't know in this TikTok era, this where it's just like skill, 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 and I can't knock it because like a lot of the things that these kids were doing, like what you're saying, like you see these 14-year-olds doing stuff that you know you never saw before this.
Right.
But yeah, do you? I guess where I was going with this is like in your own trainings, are you ever thinking about that? Like, are you ever going like this is how we can add it? Obviously, you talk about for like game situations, but I don't know. Like, I guess do you enter that space as a player development coach, or is that more you're just there for that skill development?
No, I definitely, like I said, I'm big on watching film. And sometimes I'm able to watch film with some of these kids that I have, like the high school or middle school kids that I have. So I definitely try to do whatever I can. A lot of times I'm just working with them individually, so it's hard to kind of put other bodies on the floor and
Yeah,
kind of show them the situation. So I think that film part of it definitely it definitely helps. It doesn't maybe do the full thing sometimes, but it helps. But I definitely encourage, like, I think there's always a good mixture of training individually, training with a group where you can, add, short-sided games, 2-on-2 or 3-on-3s with rules or principles. And then obviously mixing in with practices on a weekly basis where you maybe get to scrimmage 5-on-5 on top of playing on the weekend. So I think I try to at least add in whatever I can to help, that individual player's development. But I'm definitely an advocate for those kinds of things. Usually I just train individually though, so it's hard to do that. But I think there's always a good mixture of skill development while sometimes slowing a session down and you're showing them reads that they can make and trying to explain that the best you can. Obviously, like I say, if you're working with one player, sometimes it's tough, especially if you don't have any film. But but yeah, I try to focus on both sides of it the best I can.
yeah, nice, 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 nice. Um, oh, I just had a question in my head. It's just left me. Um, oh, that's what it was. Sorry. Um, how do you, as a development coach, you know, building these players through obviously your work on the court, you're watching film, all this sort of stuff, is mindset, like the mindset of a player, how do you approach in building that?
Yeah. Yeah, I work with players that are, they're confident, and then some players that, kind of lack that area. And, I think a big part of it is, I feel like I work with pretty much all the players that I work with are extremely hard workers, and they put the time in, whether it was with me or somebody else, or whether it's on their own. So I think, just first and foremost, like telling them to, believe in themselves and trust in their work is always a big part of it. But at the same time, I think every guy has a different, type of mindset and how they can kind of settle into just kind of flowing and doing their thing without really thinking too much. And some guys, need to lift weights before a game. Some guys need to do different things. They need to listen to music or something like that, to kind of get them into a different type of state. Point guard I worked with this past year, Sean Newman Jr. He was a guy that like he liked to do a lot of band work, and we got in the weight room before games. And I think if he knew that he did something like that before a game, or he got his work in on the day of a game, he always felt better going into the game. And I think it just showed with his performances this year. But everyone's different. Everyone, they're going to get confident from different things. So some guys just have it naturally. Some guys may not even put the time in or work in, but they think they're the best player out there, and they think they're Steph Curry. When they get going, when they make a shot. So just understanding guys' tendencies, from a mental standpoint, I think is important too, and how you can help them kind of get into that state of, where they're at their highest level of confidence, I think is very important. So that's what I've also learned these past couple of years.
Yeah, cool. So throughout that championship run, did you guys expect to be there at the end? Like when you were going into the season, was that an expectation for you guys?
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, just knowing the history of Fullerton, knowing, like, they had just got one in 2019, knowing the talent that we had coming back. We lost some guys in the season prior to injury. So knowing they were coming back, knowing some other freshmen were coming back, and then some guys that were transferring in. Um, we knew we had the type of talent, and Coach Webster was very confident that we had the talent to get there. So it was just a day by day thing. So I mean, going 32-1, I think it looks like we just kind of had it easy, but at the same time, like, there was a lot of work to do leading up to that. But I mean, early on, like, just with some of the teams that we beat, beating San Francisco, who we played in the championship early on, we knew we had a real chance after that. After that, being kind of number one in the state for most of the season, we knew we had a target on our back. So it was just about, these guys just kind of staying level headed and preparing every single day, like, they could be beat.
That's got to be one of the hardest things as a coach when you actually have a really talented team to not, I guess, take for granted that where you like how you've played and where you're at.
Right.
Um, so I guess for you moving forward, what are your goals at the moment? What are your personal goals, coaching goals? Like what do you got going on? Because I guess so your season's like 23, 24, right?
Yeah, the next season
Yeah.
will be 24.
So
Yeah.
I guess like over the next, not 2023 necessarily, but over the next period, what are you what are you working towards?
For me individually, is that more of the
Yeah, a
question, or
little bit of everything. Yeah.
I mean,
Personally,
as a team, obviously, you want to just go back to back. That's pretty much the goal. But we know that even though we did it this year, there's still that same level of preparation and time that's got to go into it. It's just a brand new start. For me, I'm not too sure, just yet. I think I'm continuing to build a network. I've gotten some, I've got a D2 assistant job opportunity that I was blessed to get a couple months ago. And there's been other, things that have kind of crossed my path, and I'm not too sure really. I'm kind of just letting it flow and then see what happens. Like I said, obviously I love this side that I'm on right now, this avenue. Um, so we'll see. I would love to work at a high level. I would love to go work at a 4 year as a player development coach, and just kind of stay in this basketball space. But as long as it's something with basketball and something with what I'm doing right now, then I'll be satisfied. So we'll see, because I know I won't be at Fullerton forever, but we'll just see who wants to hire me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What is it about the work that you do now in basketball, this player development? What is it about that like wakes you up in the morning? Like, what is it that you love?
I think for me, with just kind of how I got here, over COVID, I had man, I didn't, like, everyone was kind of unemployed and things like that was going on. And man, I was working some night shifts at Walmart. I was driving at FedEx. And then on top of all that, I broke my leg and I wasn't in a gym for like 3, 4 months. So I think when I'm allowed to be in a gym, and sometimes it gets tough, sometimes the days get long and tiring, but I just remind myself like where I was like before all this, and how fortunate and blessed I am. But like I said, the relationships that I built, and then the guys that I get to work with, the players that I get to work with, um, when they approach every day like they want to work and they want to get better, I mean, it's easier for me because I don't drain myself trying to get these guys in the gym, or get them to work, or get them to do the things necessary to get them better. So I'm blessed to be where I'm at, because man, they make the job easier. I know a lot of other guys probably drain themselves being in other situations. So I have to remember that I'm also very fortunate for that side of it, where I get to really work with not only naturally talented players, but guys that also want to put the time in. So um, it's been a great combination, and I'm blessed. So I definitely don't take it for granted, for sure.
No, I love that, man. I'm super happy for you. Happy for everything you got going on.
Appreciate it.
No, no, I appreciate you taking this time. I feel like that's like a good place to kind of wrap it up. But
Yeah,
but yeah, no, thank you for hopping on.
yeah.
Kickstarting the potty again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got to get Jesse on. I haven't watched much of his games in Melbourne.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know if you know, one of my guys is out. I helped him get one of his big men out there. So I've
oh,
been kind
really?
of I've been following him a lot. He actually went here. He went to Portland State, and then Jesse was asking about if I knew of any big guys, of any fives, and 2 days later he's on like a Zoom call with them. So I've been able to kind of help. I was kind of help coordinate that, and it's been cool to see him out there, because I mean, he I don't know what he'd be doing right now. He'd probably be in the transfer portal or something like that, kind of waiting on his next move. But he ended up just heading out there, so it's been cool. I've been able to kind of keep in contact with him, and I still talk to Jesse pretty much almost every day. So uh, yeah, I kind of know a little bit of what's going on.
Yeah, that's cool. No, I've I want to get over to Melbourne. It's not that
Yeah,
long of a plane ride from where I am, but yeah, since starting this new basketball job and stuff, I'm doing like 13-hour days. So I'm working my other job, leaving straight
yeah,
from there, going straight to the courts, and yeah, working 6 days a week at the moment. So haven't been able to keep up with almost anything else. So
yeah.
I'm sick at the moment. So I've
Shoot.
been out of action the last 3 days. So I've just been sitting down watching basketball and yeah, kind of enjoying doing nothing, but I'm ready to go back and
Yeah,
get back to work. So no, I appreciate your time, my man. What do you got on
appreciate
for the rest of the
you.
night?
What'd you say?
What do you got on for the rest of the night?
Shoot, not much. Probably just go get some food, and yeah, shoot, just hang out and get some rest and do it all over again tomorrow.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Well, have a good one, my man. I appreciate
Appreciate
you
you,
coming on.
man. Shout out to Summit Heights Club, yes, sir.
I don't know about that anymore, but
Is that we're not calling it that anymore?
it's just Marshie's corner right now, and then
Ah, my bad. I
we'll
messed
see
that
what
up.
happens. No, not at all. I thank you for remembering that.
Yeah. I was like, I know the name. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would be fun. That was something I was really hoping to do, but like with my friends as well, like because I got so many friends that are, they talk about starting their own podcast, doing their own, you know, video making, like all this sort of stuff. And I was like, why don't we just put it all under one banner? But it hasn't happened yet. So I'm just focusing on this and yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, I got this. I'm sure you've seen her be posted on my page all the time. I gotta take this kid home.
um
Get some food.
appreciate her waiting around.
She's like drawing or something on the computer or something. But
I'm trying to teach myself Photoshop right now.
yeah, that's a shoot. I had to kind of learn a little bit about that just for the program's sake.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm trying to learn it right now for the basketball lab that I'm working at.
Nice.
Trying to do a little bit of marketing and stuff from them, but
Yep.
just trying to push Australia a little bit closer to beating USA.
It could happen. I wouldn't even be surprised.
Hey,
Some of the
we'll,
best players left in the playoffs right now are foreigners. So
yeah, we had that 16-point lead in the World Cup against you guys in the semis, and we blew it.
Yep.
But anyways, my guy, I'm gonna let you go. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you soon for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Send through that stuff.
Yes, sir.
Cheers, my guy. Have a good
All right,
one.
man.
Bye.
You too.